how storytelling can help your estate agency stand out from your competition. Today, I'm joined by Suzanna and Brian Farrell from Acaboom, and they're here to talk about how storytelling can help you get a greater market share. Talk to me.
Well, first of all, it's far more memorable, of course, because the more memorable you are at a pitch, the more likely you are to win the instruction. That's what this all comes back to. It's all about how you stand out from the next agent that walks through the door. Telling a story is 22 times more likely to be retained than just a message on its own. So by being able to bring something to life, even talking to the degree of how you've sold a property recently, what they went through, how it worked out, really bringing these true life stories to the forefront is so important. And let's not forget my least favourite stat in the whole wide world, that people only remember 10% of what we say, but more like 65% of things they see. And a story falls into that. It's really bringing it to life. So ideally, if you are telling stories, if you can have visuals behind them, that'll make them even stronger.
It's like when your missus tells you to fill the dishwasher and 2 hours later you've forgotten, but you can remember your favourite fairy tales and films, can't you? It's because they're stories, isn't it?
Yeah, I fill the dishwasher every night anyway, so I don't have to be told to do it. But listening to storytelling, as you were saying that, I was thinking of Richard Branson. You know, we all know he started the airline because he couldn't get back from Barbados one day, and he rented an aeroplane. He thought, I can make money. It's a story. I remember, do you remember, was it Braun, the guy with the shaver? I like the shave so much, I bought the company.
Remington
Was
yeah.
it? But there's stories that just make you remember
Well,
the
that's
brand.
not a great one because you got the wrong brand.
No, well, I did.
But
It's an old one, though. It's an old
Yeah.
one. But the point is, if you're an estate agent and you can tell a story, you know, I wanted to be an estate agent ever since I was 5 years old, and I've started my own business locally in the town. People are probably going to go, really? You wanted to be an estate agent for 5 years? And they just remember it. It's memorable.
But the reason people like stories is that you've got your conscious brain and your subconscious brain, and your conscious brain is like 9 foot square, and your subconscious is 9 acres. Okay, and the conscious brain can only deal with one thing at the once. And for a human to make a decision, the subconscious has to say yes first. Okay, this is why stories are so important. So what happens is, the problem is the subconscious has been protected by the conscious brain. I don't want to get technical here, but this is why, you know, but as soon as the subconscious hears, hold on, this is a story, it goes, this has nothing to do with me, and it green lights the story all the way through the subconscious, because the conscious brain don't want to know about stories. But as soon as it gets into the subconscious and you're telling it a story, it loves it, it falls in. That's me. You need a story that someone can relate to, so that's important. And the funny thing is this, here's a great stat for you, because I know you like your stats. 19 out of 20 buying decisions that actually go through to completion, the subconscious has to say yes first. You know, it's why it's why people shop at Marks and Spencer's and not Lidl. Do you actually know that those apples are twice the price or twice as good? No, we just tell ourselves a story that they're better.
Somebody's obviously fed us something to make us realise that.
Yeah, but we don't go on the internet and say, why are those apples better?
No.
It's because we tell ourselves a story, and I think that's why stories are important.
To bring that back to estate agents,
Well, that's what I was thinking.
because
you read my mind. What can we do as estate agents?
I'll tell you some good ones. It's almost about selling themselves, and let's talk about the pre-appointment before we get to a market appraisal. What story have we already said about ourselves as a valuer, for example, to make that client really think when you get there, you're the right agent for them, personally as well as a brand.
Yeah, so you've got the agency brand and the personal brand.
Exactly. So there's two stories, if you like, there. And how many agents don't tell a story before they get there?
They don't. It's just the logo and the name.
And confirming a meeting. In fact, 84% of agents do that typically, just confirming the meeting. So there's a huge opportunity to start the storytelling before we even arrive. Also, how many times do we know that a competitor might say, cancel that meeting because you can just instruct with me. We have wanted to have told a good enough story to prevent that from happening as well.
Indeed, and that's what I particularly like about your platform is that you can drop in a video. Hi, Mrs. Miggins. Just wanted to say I'm looking forward to coming to see your 3-bedroom semi. I was brought up around the corner from you. I know your house really well. You're not going to cancel that.
And this is a great example, whether it be video or a write-up, to be honest. I see some great ones from some of our clients that do talk about, I have been in agency for X number of years and I've always lived on this area or this area. I've got 3 children and, you know, I'm specialised in family homes or whatever the sweet spot they might be looking for. But already a nice photo or video or both in an ideal world, it's telling that story and selling you before you arrive. That's one example.
Okay, so you've got you as the valuer. What about the team?
I was just sitting there thinking about the team though, because we do play on the valuer a lot. But if you send something through, this is me, I'm going to see you on the day, looking forward to meeting you, just as you've described. I'm supported by a wonderful team who include...
And I did say it was only one example. Team is another one, sorry. So, so yeah, absolutely having visuals with you as well to tell the story about the team rather than just say there's, you know, Jason, Paul and Mike at the office. We should have some nice visuals of the team with us to bring those people to life. This is your dedicated sales progressor, Nancy, you know, and Nancy's been doing this for 26 years. That's telling a story as well.
And you could almost put that in video, and I know some of your agents in using your platform do that.
Yes, video's great as well as both, but at least photos, at least, not just verbal.
And of course, if we're talking about the team, we have to talk about the client as well, past clients, you know, with their stories.
I was thinking that telling a story, because you were saying earlier, I forgot the stats already, but you know, there was basically it's the subconscious and it goes in. So once you start telling a story, they kind of the barrier goes down. And
of course it does, because the subconscious is loving it.
And if you can slip in some testimonials and tell a story, Mrs. Smith down the road put a house on the market and make it a nice, pleasurable, happy ending story.
It's like you're at the front of the arrow, or the pyramid, whatever, and then you're supported by the team, but then you're supported by the clients and their stories.
Yes.
You're having a multi-level story, aren't you? Mm-hmm. Which people can relate to. Mm-hmm. But then obviously we've got the community as well, haven't we, to go for?
Absolutely, and that brings us back into some of the reasons we've talked about today, community kind of type content and things like that to bring that whole story of who we are. And as I said before, agents are very generous typically. So why aren't we conveying that enough to really bring us to life as people, to help us sell?
And that will back up our story as agents, that we are the right agent for that client, because not only do we sell houses, but we care, and these are the people we've helped, and basically we'll get you moved to, because that's ultimately our job, isn't it, to get someone moved from one house to the next, isn't it?
I think the developing of the story is quite difficult to do when I think about it, and I've done it several times before, but I can imagine a lot of people sitting down at a desk with a pen and paper thinking, right, I'm going to write my story of what I want it to look like. But I think once they've done that, and then they've started to say it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, it's just going to start to flow in their mind. And when they end up standing in front of somebody or getting ready to stand in front of somebody, that story is just going to
flow like the lava.
Yeah.
As you say.
Is that the expression?
Well, it
is now.
It is now. Yeah. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, the magic thing is this, is create your own story, create your agency story, find your client story and your community story, package it all up, because at the end of the day, storytelling is where it's at, and that's where the magic happens. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.